Hello everyone, my name is Vincenzo Fuoco.
And I'm Christopher Rischar.
And welcome to Muppet a Month. This will be our monthly series on YouTube where we watch one Muppet movie every single month.
And then we review it and figure out what we think. Today's month is January, the first month of the year, and our first movie. This month is January, which is the first month of the year, and our first Muppet movie This month is January, which is the first month of the year, and our first Muppet film that we will be watching is Kermit's Swamp Years.
Yes.
I've heard that it's one of the worst Muppet movies, so we're starting off with the worst so that we can progressively get better.
Oh yeah, that's what we love to hear, especially with the new year.
Yes. Ooh!
This will be our monthly series on YouTube, posted on Double Brick since it's currently been dead, and from there you're going to yeah.
The goal of this is to get an appreciation for the whole Muppet canon, and really just like know that we can call it ourselves like Muppet fans. Because how can you be a Muppet fan when you haven't watched Muppets in Space?
Exactly.
The best Muppet movie.
So then we'll be fully caught up with the Muppets and we can be true Muppeteers.
Yes.
Yes.
So the way that this works is we're gonna each go off into a separate room and we're going to review the movie that we watch. And then we're gonna come together and we're going to review it together and figure out what our opinions are on the movie. And then we will rate it out of 10. And then after this whole thing is finished, we will do a tier list to figure out what Muppet movie is truly the best.
Yes.
Anyway, let's jump right into the review. We're gonna go ahead and watch this movie, and then we'll tell you what we think.
Yeah.
One movie watch later.
Yeah. Hey everyone, Vincenzo reporting from the toilet.
Hello everyone, Christopher here.
My opinion on Kermit's Swamp Days is very mixed. It was a very interesting movie, I must say.
There was a lot of very interesting moments that I'm a little questionable about because of its G rating.
They had a lot of really funny jokes. I don't really know how it was rated G, but it was a really, really funny movie, I will say. Like I will give him credit where credit is due.
There was one joke in particular where there was one scene towards the beginning of the movie where you see two bunnies literally rubbing up against each other, and then later on, towards the end of the film, it's shown that they have a lot of babies. I think it's really funny, but it's also a G-rated movie, so like, I don't know if you should have that joke in a movie for kids.
It wasn't that bad. For a Muppets movie, I would say it wasn't the greatest because Muppet movies are really good, and I feel like there are a lot of better ones out there than what we watched, but I will say it is still a pretty fun watch. Now, the critiques, there are lots. At the beginning, there was like this weird fly guy. I don't even know what he was. He was like this flying thing, and it was terrible CG. It was really bad. That was bad. That was a terrible way to open up the movie because like it was a pretty good movie with like a lot of practical like animals and puppets, but they started off with like this weird CG guy, which was really weird.
The CGI bug at the beginning felt unnecessary and it did not look good. There was also a couple effects that did not look good. When Croaker jumped towards the beginning of the film and did a somersault, that looked terrible.
Later on, there's like a stunt or something performed by, I forgot his name, but there's like the little blue frog and he does a little stunt. And me and Chris caught it, and it's him doing a front flip into the water, but it's not his puppet. It's a PNG image of his puppet spinning in circles and then falling in the water, and that was interesting.
Also, the plot was very inconsistent. I didn't quite understand what was happening half the time, but whenever you realize that the evil guy is a 9th grade biologist, that was pretty funny in my opinion.
Another thing was just the plot was really weird. It was very just, oh look, Kermit, it's Kermit, but like little. Chris mentioned this, and I agree with him. It's like watching Young Sheldon, but with Kermit. It's literally Kermit Young Sheldon. Like, it's just him talking about what happened in his younger years, and I feel like it's just a ton of just going on and just rambling and being like, oh look, this is happening, this is happening, and this is happening.
The portrayal of young Kermit, I feel, was pretty good until it just started feeling like Kermit. It didn't feel like a 12-year-old Kermit, it just felt like Kermit. Favorite moment of the whole movie was when Statler and Waldorf showed up, and when they broke the fourth wall. That was one of my favorite jokes. Also, just because I love Statler and Waldorf. But
hey, Statler! I'm sure glad the frog put us in his movie.
Why? So people can see how young we look?
No, so we don't have to watch it.
Oh! I love Statler and Waldorf.
A weird plot point that happened that I thought was weird was when Kermit and the Blue Frog, yes. They were like going to hunt. They were trying to find the big frog and the little nerd, and they were like, Kermit was thinking about giving up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like good chance for character development. But then he just goes, actually, never mind. We're gonna go find him. And then I was like, what? Like he just like, and Chris mentioned, it's like a full 180. Like his mood just swapped completely in like the span of a second. So there wasn't really any character development. There wasn't really any changes. The only real change was like the bully guy. He went from like being rude to being nice.
overall, the show was the movie was okay. I feel like overall, this would be something good to play for like a kid who doesn't know anything and just wants to see moving colors on a screen, or to watch ironically. I would never turn this on unironically and watch it out of enjoyment because, frankly, it's not a good enough movie for that. Not a huge fan, really not, but I look forward to movies after this because I know that the movies after this will actually be good and not Kermit's Swamp Years, which was just the definition of mid.
Overall, it did have a lot of faults, but it was also a Muppet movie. It had its jokes, it had its little funny Muppet moments. I'll give it credit where credit's due. I think 4 out of 10 is a pretty fine rating. Yeah.
All right, we are back for group discussion time.
Yes.
Yes.
What was your... Actually, let's do it at the same time. Out of 10.
10, yeah.
What was your score? 3, 2, 1. 4 out of 10.
Ooh, okay.
We're locked in like that. We're locked in like that.
Okay.
Tell me, what was something you did not enjoy about the movie?
I did not enjoy the plot. I did not enjoy the effects, the computer effects. Yeah, mainly the plot is my kicker.
It felt like nobody had a real driving force. I
Yeah,
feel like
like-
the only person who stayed consistent was Kirker, which
Yeah.
is funny. Personally, it felt like a movie for babies, like I said, but it also had too many inappropriate jokes for it to be a movie for kids.
Right.
Because like you've got the bunny scene.
The bunny
obviously.
scene, yeah. I didn't talk about that in mine, but yeah.
And then you have like when we watch the bloopers, there's like, and I know it's technically not part of the movie, but still, there's the one where he like talks about every single scene is a nude scene.
Yeah.
And how like he's been a bad frog, he needs to be spanked.
Oh yeah,
Crazy
that
work.
was insanely freaky
Crazy
for a
work.
G-rated movie.
Also, I felt like that fly thing at the very beginning. and
That
at the very end.
I mentioned that, because the rest of the movie, like, is really good with like practical animals. Like that dog Muppet looked like
The dog Muppet was so good.
it looked so realistic, and the alligator one, like all the animals that were like puppets they look cool. But then like just the beginning, there was just that fly. It was so random. It looked terrible. The voice was annoying. He was so out of place, and I just don't know why he was there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that guy took off points.
Let's talk about the songs.
The songs, I never mentioned that. Music choice was interesting.
The song that Kermit sang, I thought was pretty cute.
Yeah, I like the songs that were sung by the characters.
Yeah.
Like the pet one was fun. It was just a fun little time. And then the Kermit song was nice.
Yeah,
It
too
showed
short, though.
it showed actual character development, which is definitely needed in a movie like this, where character development was very little.
That bullfrog had really great character development.
He was the only one that actually had character.
highlight of the film.
I talked about that, how like he was the only one that really changed, was just how he went from like rude to nice.
Yeah. How did you feel about the references?
Those were I didn't mention that, but like there were a lot of references, and like some didn't even have to do with Muppets. Like the Wizard of Oz reference.
Well, yeah, what was it? Why were they so obsessed with Wizard of Oz?
I don't know, they referenced it
Weird.
like 3 times, I think.
Yeah. I liked some of the references. Some of them felt a little forced, though.
Yeah, like when he was like, "Oh, I heard visions," and I heard voices.
When you're half asleep, do you hear voices?
I heard them calling my name. Like, bruh.
What is this? Is this called a pig? I hope I never meet one of those again.
I hope I never see another one of those my entire life.
That was funny. That one was funny.
That was funny until he looked into the camera for like a solid 2 seconds. I was like, oh.
But that's like so like Muppets though. Like
that is
the Muppets do that for like every reference they make. It's like, and
on the Jim
Henson.
Oh,
Whoa!
I did not like that reference.
Jim Henson being in the movie,
But
was
not Jim
interesting.
Henson, because Jim Henson had died.
Not Jim Henson, but
like young Jim Henson.
Young Jim Henson. Like someone was playing Jim Henson.
I thought it would be okay if it just panned up and it had Henson on the mailbox, but when it zoomed in, I was like, this is too much.
Yeah, like we don't need someone playing as Jim Henson. Like sure you can put like the name of the mailbox is Henson. That's cool.
Cute.
That's like a homage, but Jim Henson actually being part of Kermit's life
and picking up, like giving him a hand, because like I thought it'd be cute if they had a Jim Henson reference, but it didn't make sense in the story.
Yeah.
Because according to the story, the Muppets were just animals, and they didn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
So like having Jim Henson lend out a hand, I understand it's supposed to be like, oh, Jim Henson is very nice and caring, which he was, but like.
But it's also like, why would a kid just like look? Just pick up a frog. I feel like this movie was very like separate from like all other Muppet like stuff
it felt like a Muppet fan film.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god,
right.
that's what it was.
It felt like someone was like making up their own little story about
It felt like
Kermit's
Muppet
life.
fan fiction.
Yeah.
My review of Kermit's Swamp Years boils down to a single phrase. It felt like a crappy fan fiction.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how we can sum it up.
Yeah.
Up next, in our next review,
we will be going
we'll be going to Disney World. And we will be watching Muppet Vision 3D before it closes.
Yes.
And we will be reviewing it there, hopefully. Either there or soon after.
Soon
we watch
after.
it.
We will be watching it at the park with our 3D vision glasses. We'll have the full experience and everything.
Because originally we were going to watch it off YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I mean
we didn't think we would be going to Disney.
Yeah, we didn't know we were going to Disney. But
now
now we're
we know.
going.
Now we're going.
So we'll be able to see it there
Mhm.
before it closes.
And we'll have guest star Joshua Foster.
Yes, we will. Our
Yes.
first guest star.
Our first guest star.
The next episode should come out sometime early February.
Very early February, because
Yes.
the trip will be like February 1st.
Yes.
So,
So we will see you then.
yes.
This has been Muppet a Month, Episode 1, Kermit's Swamp Years.
Yes, it has. Signing out.
See y'all later.
See you February. Boo!